What's up, everybody? Armchair Quarterbacks here for another Week 8 preview. This one we've got 1, 2 third rounders plus Rams versus Dear Lord Baby Jesus. That is Johnson versus Mikey. Now, really quick here, I did see just about an hour ago, actually, as of this recording, Johnson made a pretty savvy trade here, I think. He traded actually up against Shawn, my brother, traded Bijan Robinson for Raheem Mostert, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Tank Dell. Pretty interesting trade there. We'll see how that works out in Johnson's favor. Finally dropping Treylon Burks, who I've recommended for weeks now. Damian Harris as well, who's on IR and really hasn't produced very much. So very interesting there. Interesting trade. We'll see how that works out for both players. But taking a look at Johnson's team, this week he's currently starting Trevor Lawrence, A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Travis Etienne, and Raheem Mostert, there we go, Gerald Everett, Gabe Davis, and Chris Godwin. Now, Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, they're playing up against Pittsburgh. It's looking like it's raining over there in Pittsburgh, so we'll see what the game looks like on Sunday. If it's a wet, rainy game, Etienne might get a lot more work than usual, which is good for him because he's been beasting as of late. But you know, they're still gonna have to throw the ball, still have to air it out. We'll see. And that actually might work in favor for Mike, who is playing Christian Kirk, because Calvin Ridley has not looked good. Zay Jones, I believe, is still injured, still trying to come back from injury. So Christian Kirk is pretty much, besides Evan Engram, is their only other pass option. So it could work out that way. We'll see. Now we've got here A.J. Brown up against Washington, as well as the Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith stack. So this one's going to be interesting because Washington, first of all, they're a pretty decent defense. But Philadelphia offense, they are beast. They are elite right now. Jalen Hurts hasn't played consistently elite. However, he has scored you the amount of points that you want to see. Now, Devonta Smith, on the other hand, he has been underperforming his projections. He kind of, his off-season projections, you know, everybody was, there was a lot of talk that he might see the targets that A.J. Brown is currently seeing, and if that's the case, he could, you know, become the wide receiver 1, and A.J. Brown move down to the wide receiver 2. However, A.J. Brown, on the other hand, has been producing, has been seeing the targets, has been efficient, and he is proving and showing why he really is the wide receiver 1 in this offense. So it's going to be interesting to see where the ball goes here. It could be an even split. Most likely it'll be going to A.J. Brown a lot. But, you know, we're hoping Devonta Smith here, he's going to get some looks because he really needs some looks to be what you want him to be in terms of your fantasy production. If not, you might want to start thinking about trading him away and seeing what you can get from him. Because obviously this Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith stack hasn't really worked out for Mike here. Johnson is starting Tyler Lockett against Cleveland. Cleveland, again, according to Yahoo, gives up the second fewest fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Taking a look at who they've faced in the past, let's see, week 2, they gave 22 points to George Pickens. And then since then, they've gone all the way until week 7, where they gave up points to Josh Downs and Michael Pittman, and even Alec Pierce. So, I mean, they're a pretty stout defense. It's really gonna depend on what this game script looks like. If DK Metcalf plays and is back in the game, you know, Lockett's going to go back to his normal, like, check down safety blanket type of receiver game. But if DK Metcalf is out, then it's possible, you know, Lockett will see an increased target share. All right, so I talked about ETN. Raheem Mostert here playing up against New England. This is actually one of the highest I believe, the highest over under point total right now. Let's see. Right here, 47 points with Miami favored. So if Miami's favored and they end up going up over New England, Raheem Mostert, he can see a lot of garbage points, garbage time points. It really depends if they play Salvon Ahmed or Jeff Wilson. But really, I think the thing to look out here is the ankle injury that he sustained in the Week 7 game. It doesn't look like it's a serious enough injury to keep him out, but I would keep an eye on his on this week's practice reports, and you can look that up on Twitter. You can look it up on the team's website. There's a bunch of different places you can go to, but they also have, if you search on Google, just like NFL practice reports, RotoWire, it's another well-known fantasy sports analyzing group. They have a lot of different, they basically have all the updates on all the practice reports, so you can take a look there. And if I take a look and search for, they haven't updated it yet. They haven't updated the Raheem Mostert injury report, but I believe I saw it was on Twitter that he didn't practice. Okay, I'm not logged in. But yeah, I believe he didn't practice today. So keep an eye on that. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, right here. Last time Mostert missed practice. Here, Mostert missed Wednesday's practice with ankle injury. So you'll want to keep an eye on that throughout the rest of the week, Thursday, Friday, see if he's going to play or not. And then Gerald Everett, again, you had text me, Johnson, about that Gerald Everett pickup. And take my advice as what I told you in the text. Don't look to start him every week. He might not be there. They have, what's his name? Donald Parham to throw to. He's a younger player, so they can spread the ball around. Gabe Davis, this is an upside play. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes with this. He needs the efficiency he hasn't produced in the last couple of weeks. He needs the touchdown really pretty much to produce. Besides that, that's a ceiling play right there for you. And then you're also playing Chris Godwin again in the same game up against Gabe Davis. This is interesting because earlier I was watching CBS Guys. And they were comparing Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Mike Evans has been the number one receiver. Chris Godwin, he hasn't really lived up to what his usual PPR status is. He's usually really good in PPR. However, this year he hasn't been as efficient. So you're hoping he can, have a bounce back game, finally be efficient, get some catches. If he gets 12 targets and 10 catches for, say, 70, 80 yards, you're going to love that right there. Now, just a quick reminder, if you do have Thursday players here, try to take them out of your flex and put them up into your starting roster up in here. Because if you do that, if they don't produce as well, let's say you have Chris Godwin, you're hoping he hits that 10 points, and he doesn't. Let's say he gets 6 points out for you. Then that shows that you need to do more of a ceiling, high power play. So you might want to look at taking out Lockett or ETN, whoever, and try to plug in like Garrett Wilson or DeAndre Hopkins, somebody that can actually boom for you. But again, that's really what me and Shawn have harped on before. So let's take a look at Mike's team. I talked about Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk. CMC, San Francisco game up against Cincinnati. That's an interesting matchup there because it's two high-powered offenses. And again, we've said it before, CMC really, it depends on who the game script goes to. For the most part, he's been pretty safe. I think in the Minnesota game, I don't think he got off the field at all. I think he played 100% of snaps. So as long as he's continuing to play and get the usage, he'll be fine. I don't think you're going to be disappointed really with CMC. If he has a down game, like he did here up against Cleveland and here up against Dallas. I mean, can you blame him? He's got to have a couple bad weeks here and there, but if you look at the rest of his stat line, 20 points, averaging 22, 23 points per game. So you'll be okay, I think. And CMC, he's going to keep producing for you. Tyler Algier, this is an interesting one because of the whole storyline with, what's his name? Bijan Robinson, who Johnson just traded away. So we'll see if they try to get Bijan Robinson some more usage, or if they're going to continue to use, a committee. Robinson, Algier, Cordarrelle Patterson. But Algier has been kind of hit or miss so far, and mostly it's been miss. But if he does get a good amount of usage, it'll be interesting to see how efficient he'll be this week up against Tennessee, because Tennessee, again, they're a pretty stout run defense, which will be interesting. Now you have Dalton Schultz playing up against Carolina. Carolina, according to Yahoo, gives up the 13th fewest fantasy points to the tight end position. But Dalton Schultz is the tight end for CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has been balling out pretty much most of the season. And Dalton Schultz, he's been pretty efficient. 3 touchdowns in the last 3 games. So if he continues to get another touchdown here, 4 touchdowns for 4 games in a row, that's going to be great. You're going to love it. DJ Moore playing with Tyler Badgett. You obviously see the, dip in production here without Justin Fields. However, they're playing up against the Chargers. The Chargers are pretty leaky in deep throws, so it's possible DJ Moore could have a bounce back game. And, Tyson Badgett, whatever his name is, he hasn't looked horrible. He's been pretty decent, but, it's not like elite starter, top tier starter status. So you need... DJ Moore really needs like a couple deep throws, maybe 1 or 2, and then one of those to go for a touchdown or just a touchdown, and then he'll have a decent game. You're also starting Josh Downs. Again, I called that a pretty good pickup, a savvy pickup last week. Up against New Orleans, it'll be interesting because New Orleans, Derek Carr, he's possibly still got a shoulder injury, so they might not be able to keep up the pace of the game. But again, it's also Gardner Minshew's Josh Downs quarterback, so he might just keep airing out the ball. But either way, Josh Downs is gonna get some usage because Gardner Minshew likes to air out the ball. He passes the ball around, and Josh Downs seems to be one of his favorite guys to throw to. So that's a pretty good pickup, and that's a pretty good play there. Taking a look at your benches. The only question for me for Mike's team here really is David Montgomery. Is he coming back? Is he going to play? If he plays this week, how do you sit him? Because he's been beast. So that's going to be one thing for you to watch here. All right, but that's it for this week 8 preview. Good luck to you both, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.